Welcome back. It's the Daily Football Show.
Broadcasting from Money and Sport on the Gold Coast. This is Outside 90s Daily Football Show presented by ultrafootball.com. Mark Van Aken with you, flying solo in part. We've got Victor Pablo Dana, the founder and managing partner of Heritage Wealth over there in Dubai, as well as television presenter and journalist and formerly with BN Sport, Adrian Del Monte. We have a co-host of sorts here today, mate. But
good to be back on the show, mate. It's been
mate.
a while.
You were there in the fledgling days back in our SEN studio. Hey, look, since its inception, Heritage Wealth and its sister company Heritage Partners Limited have been active in facilitating large financial deals such as the AC Milan sale or GLS football, organising GLS football matches with over 40 legendary football players under contract, such as Fabio Cannavaro, Paolo Maldini, Alessandro Del Piero, Michael Salgado, Luis Figo, Patrick Kluivert, and many, many more. And that's how you know this character, I believe, Victor.
Yeah, Mark, I see you did your homework well on me.
Yes.
I know.
I read it straight off the Money and Sport website, but anyway.
That's where it was easy then. Yes, we met with Adrian some time back, actually in Las Vegas. It was during the GLS event in February where we brought, I think there was, 26 players, Adrian, that came.
Correct.
Some of the top legendary guys we all dreamed about to meet, and we were, let's say, very close to them for a couple of days, and it was very fun.
Yeah, there's some massive work going on in China as well. You've got a memorandum of understanding to be basically operating a whole lot of academy-type setups there. The breadth and the breadth of the opportunity in China, I think, is mind-boggling for a lot of people. We've seen the rise of the Chinese Super League.
Yes.
Tell us about what the GLS is doing in that space.
Well, by the nature of GLS, which is a multicultural, multinational team of legends, I think that was the choice for the Chinese Ministry of Education to choose us to represent not only one type of soccer, not only one style or one country, but to be a little bit the United Nations of modern football. The ministry asked us to implement a series of coaching systems for the schools in China. At the beginning, we took it as a really enchanting project, which we signed, actually, this memorandum of understanding, without noticing how hard this would be due to the figures in China. Just to give you an idea, we're talking about 247,000 schools to which we should provide coaches.
It's a lot of schools.
It's a lot of schools, it's a lot of coaches, which is at today impossible. So we already kick-started with 600 schools at the moment, where my partners and the founder of GLS, James Davis, is running it. It's a long project. It's a 8-year memorandum, and we're on it every day.
Now, you spoke yesterday at Money and Sport about a lot of what you guys do over there in Dubai is basically connecting very wealthy people with the right opportunities to buy football clubs, and you go in and you'll analyse the right opportunity and suggest the right opportunity. And you spoke about how that goes beyond the balance sheet. It goes beyond a profit and loss statement. There's a lot of intangibles that you will look at when looking to buy into a football club. Can you talk to our listeners about some of those, what they might be, especially in I guess the example you used was with Pisa?
Well, apart from the Pisa example, I think that you're right, Mark. One of the most incredible data or values when you have to analyze a club is the E value. The E standing for ego. Is how much you accept to pay just to have your name on the newspaper and just to become the president. Unfortunately, this E variable completely ruins and destroys everything we learned at school. Mathematics, geometry, geography is totally out of the fundamentals. The economy behind buying a club is how much people are ready to pay for it. Now, going back to what we are doing, we look for clubs who have had problems by management, problems, relegation, and we try to bring a real company management into it by the acquisition. So we bring values that you can find in normal actions of a general manager, of a general company strategy, and we try to take the passion away from, let's say, the running the company and putting real strategies of managing a company like if it was selling computers or business cards.
Mark, if I may, as you mentioned earlier, Pablo and I did meet in Las Vegas. It was in February earlier this year, and the first time we met, we were actually on a bus. and in the bus was myself, Pablo, Patrick Kluivert, and Michel Salgado as well. So very, very fond memory for me. But Pablo, one of the first conversations we had that night, I think it was at the MGM, was about this, about purchasing clubs and gaining people who are interested to invest and whatnot. How do you go about finding the people who are willing to invest, and why are they willing to invest in a football club? What's the benefit of investing in a football club?
Well, first of all, I have to say that it came by pure coincidence. I mean, nothing of this was planned, obviously. I come from the private banking sector where I've been working for 30 years, and by pure coincidence, a friend of mine asked me one day to seek a very important club to buy in Italy. So I made it come true. I made the appointments, and this was for AC Milan and Silvio Berlusconi. So I tried to be a facilitator in the deal. And from there's been a lot of press. And now I have people calling me asking to participate in the acquisition of some teams in Europe. Now, buying a team, and going back to your question, is for many reasons. As I said, one of the reasons could be for ego. Another reason could be for the ancillary business. Take, for example, people who are in the real estate activity. When you become the president of a club in the city, you become the number one in the city. I mean, you're just as important, if not more important, than the mayor of the city itself. So you gain a national, a urban, a national, and sometimes an international recognition through football or through soccer that you maybe would take ages and spend tens of millions of dollars to gain with other activities. So I think that football is an incredible marketing channel for ancillary business, non-related to the game itself.
And Pablo, what about one comment you made to me back then, which has stuck with me, was your passion for the sport of football. You told me that you are passionate more so about the business side. So
I told you I was not passionate about football.
Not passionate about football at all. So that's fascinating.
No, it's still the case. It's still the case. Yeah, and maybe that's what drives me and gives me.
That's what makes you successful, no doubt, as well, because you can be making decisions with a very clear mind.
Yeah, I don't get excited in having and being surrounded by all these football players. And when I see how people react with these stars around, for me, it's there's no difference. I mean, they're people like me and you. They could be like my accountant. Like they can be like my marketing director, my human resource assistant. I mean, there's absolutely no difference. Now, it's not passion for me, football. I'm passionate about the capacities of making money in football. I am passionate about the lack of managerial activity in football. And I'm passionate about the lack of strategies. And it's one of the most seen sports, driving the most money in the world, and it's not managed. So that's what I'm really looking at the moment.
And with Heritage, are you purely facilitating the sale, or going on from what you've said there, do you then come in and sort of give guidance of how you should be setting up your structures and your management and really running the day-to-day business of the club?
Okay, so we have two aspects. First of all, Heritage Wealth, as per se, is a broker, if I can say, of football teams or other companies. I mean, we were not specialized in football team. We were doing brokerage and investments for private equity in general. Now, what we do is that we set up, since a couple of months, the first fund in the world to buy football companies and football teams. The fund is called Sportativa, because I was a little bit frustrated in finding myself in a situation in which not only I had some investors willing to buy clubs, but often I had clubs looking for investors. And those are the most interesting. So that's where you have an opportunity to act and to act quickly. And when you don't have the money and you have to go around and look for the money, it becomes quite difficult sometimes. Sometimes the value, often actually, what happened to me is that the value of the club raises and increases spectacularly while I was looking for investors. And at the end, it was impossible to acquire. So I decided, and I joined forces with some partners in Dubai to set the first fund in the world. Actually, we realized it was the first fund in the world to be able to acquire companies linked to football. So we realized that we needed to have the financial side secured. And once we had the money in the pocket, that's where we can now go out and start seeking the acquisition of teams. And for the second question, We keep a managerial activity, but we will not get involved in the day-to-day activity of the coach or, let's say, of the team itself. This said, we might impose a coach, and usually we try to work with coaches with a certain resume, with a certain established name, and we try to use our group of legends to bring into the clubs.
Yeah, you've got a pretty handy list to start with. We're speaking to Victor Pablo Dana, founder and managing partner of Heritage Wealth, and also the great man Adrian Del Monte, formerly of BN Sport International. What do we call you? Journalistic superstar, we're going to call you.
Whatever you like. Whatever you like.
Call you whatever you like. Hey, we've seen examples of this in Australia on a much smaller scale than probably what you're dealing with. Martin Lee, Chinese businessman with the Ledman Group, buying into the Newcastle Jets. And I asked at the time, why on earth would he want to buy a sort of middle, hopefully not going to upset Newcastle listeners, a middle-of-the-road Australian football team? And given he's from China, he says, mate, you've got a 10-team competition, only 9 of them are in the Asian Confederation. He's got a 1 in 9 chance he's going to have a team playing in the Asian Champions League at some point. So you're right, these partnerships or these ownership structures are often there just for cachet, as you said, the E word, for ego. How many, though? You're an investment banker. I doubt if I came to you with half $500 million and said, Pablo, I want you to invest this money and make me some good money. I doubt you'd be turning around and asking me to invest in a football team. I think I'm right in saying. So the people that come to you, is it always ego, or are there certain people that do come in and say, you know what, I think we can really make a good return out of investing in a football team?
I think you have to choose the type of team you want to buy. If you buy some Premier League, some A Series, some first top-notch trophy asset, it's like buying a trophy building. I mean, it's always going to be there, but it's not necessarily going to bring you money. If you look at smaller teams, third, second leagues, wherever they are, I think that those are the potential if managed well. And also if managed through the scale of other teams, playing the economy of scale strategy, those can make money. You also have to look at certain countries where there's an increased potential in the TV rights, where there's a sponsorship capacity to expand, where the ticketing also can be brought at either higher prices or at different levels. So there are many aspects in which football today can still be a very good investment if managed properly. And I will never stop saying it. It must be managed.
So you're going to take my $500 million and put it into a football team? Good to hear.
Well, yes, I could. I mean,
I'm a little short, though.
No.
Tell you.
But you know, if you want to buy a good football team in Spain, with that price, you buy Santiago de Compostela.
There we go.
2.6 million people,
this is not
coming in every day.
I point out, Victor, that this is not a contract, by the way.
That's about oral contract. It's just as written.
Adrian, good segue there into TV rights, and let's kind of a bit of a local discussion. Formerly BN Sport and still sort of in that hemisphere. We're in the middle of a broadcast rights negotiation here in Australia. I've sort of questioned, we've seen the Optus situation with the EPL. Do you have any sort of inside running where you think this is going to go? Obviously, the numbers we're talking about potentially up to anywhere between $40 and $80 million, and the mix with free-to-air and maybe another player like a BN or an ESPN on the Foxtel platform coming to the party.
It's a good question, Mark, and obviously this is an area which will continually develop in coming weeks and months and over the course of the next couple of years as well with, the international tournaments. But look, I think if we're talking A-League rights, from a BN Sports perspective, I see no reason why they wouldn't go ahead and pursue something like this. As I explained previously when I've been on the program, BN's sole intention